try to give them to us. Yeah. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's gonna be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Canelo Alvarez might be walking into the most dangerous fight of his career, and he doesn't even know it. Boxing legends are warning him Terence Crawford's skill, speed, and fight IQ could tear apart Canelo's game plan. Just a fight. It's a trap. And once the bell rings, there's no way out. Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez can't handle Terence Crawford in the ring. He says Canelo no longer has the same energy and sharpness he once did, and he's disappointed to see Canelo's current form. On the other hand, Jones praises Crawford's focus, skill, and determination. He believes the weight difference won't matter because Crawford's timing, technique, and ring IQ can cancel out any size advantage. Facing a fighter as skilled and relentless as Crawford, Jones says could expose Canelo's weaknesses and make this fight far more dangerous than people expect.
It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. What I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Yeah. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. Yeah. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
Yeah. You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
Jones warns that if Canelo comes in overconfident, thinking victory is guaranteed, he's in for a rude awakening. Underestimating Crawford's skill and strategy could lead to a tough, possibly punishing defeat.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm gonna tell you why it's hard to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Olympic boxer Omari Jones is confident Crawford will beat Canelo. He says Crawford's approach to gaining weight is very different from most fighters. Instead of just bulking up, Crawford has carefully planned his training and diet to stay fast and agile, even at a higher weight. Omari believes this smart preparation gives Crawford a big advantage.
The grit and me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. And I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right way.
Even though Canelo is the bigger man, Omari points out that Crawford's discipline, skill, and smart training will help him adapt. Crawford isn't just adding weight, he's building a stronger body without losing speed or power. This fight will show how far a disciplined athlete can push himself against one of the sport's toughest champions.
Right way. You know, the nutrition, the like I said, the training. You know, Crawford, he trains hard. So I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know, like we discussed earlier, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it was actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
I'm super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then my second fight, Atlantic City, on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Bam Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has also noticed Crawford's transformation. He says Crawford looks bigger than ever, but in a good way. Most fighters slow down when they move up in weight, but Crawford still has his quickness, footwork, and timing.
I mean, listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's gonna be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, So there's times where it affects, and there's times where I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're gonna be sparring with this added weight, you're gonna be doing the boxing training with this added weight, so you're gonna know how to, maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up, and you get big, and then you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're gonna feel it.
Malignaggi believes Crawford has found the perfect balance. He's stronger and more durable for a fight with Canelo, yet still agile enough to fight his own style. He thinks the extra size will actually give Crawford more power to deal with Canelo's pressure.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez. So that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said, you're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this, even as a fighter as myself, as I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym, it just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight and we see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be that heavy.
Boxing analyst Max Kellerman has broken down the matchup in detail. He says Crawford's jab is now one of the sharpest and most effective weapons in boxing. It's fast, perfectly timed, and controls the pace of the fight. While Canelo once had a great jab, Kellerman believes it's not as sharp as it used to be. This gives Crawford an edge in range and scoring points.
Add attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
in terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Kellerman says Canelo often relies on size, strength, and power to beat smaller opponents. But if Crawford can stop Canelo's forward pressure and turn it into a mental battle, he will have the advantage. Crawford's ability to adjust and think quickly in the ring could be the key to victory.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
Popular commentator Showbiz, the adult, has given a fair take on the fight. He respects Canelo's strength, toughness, and training. Canelo's ability to take punches, pressure opponents, and land sharp counters makes him a threat to anyone. But Showbiz also praises Crawford's wrestling background, which helps him read opponents, counter their moves, and adapt under pressure.
He uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is strong. He is, okay? And he understands leverage and he understands those things because he wrestled. Honestly, very true. But Saul Canelo Alvarez is also extremely strong.
Across the boxing world, everyone agrees Crawford's strategy will decide the fight. This isn't just another match. It's a career-defining moment for Crawford. Beating Canelo would silence the critics and cement his place among boxing's legends. To win, Crawford must stay patient, control the distance, and avoid trading punches where Canelo's power is most dangerous. This fight will test both fighters' minds as much as their bodies, and the winner will be the one who sticks to their plan for all 12 rounds.
He understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before, because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's Crawford. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and that everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you know, you got to work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you're talking about right here, right? And on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But message to your opponents, he's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
It feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore.
You need big words to get out of fights. You know, you need big words to get out of fights. But okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. he had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford-Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence, he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Kawi and a young George Foreman and